Changing the world one post at a time, whether you like it or not.
As you can see, we're here going to do a video. This is going to be our C.A.M.P.Y number 18, class of Hammer Horror. As you can see, I am here. Well, my name is Louis Matos. I am the Mustache, and I am here, as always. I am here with my partner in crime, my PIC, my bestest, ultimately bestest buddy.
Oh, that's me. Junior Figueroa, aka The Beard, coming to you live from sunny Puerto Rico.
So, as we mentioned, we are going to be doing our C.A.M.P.Y, which is our classic archive motion picture yearbook, in case you forgot. Be telling you a little bit about our criteria.
Right. What's our criteria?
For your understanding, we always, before we talk about the C.A.M.P.Y video, we talk about our criteria. Unambiguous criteria. Both the Mustache and the Beard must agree, and also the first part of our criteria is longevity.
Longevity, right? And that's where the one that we had planned to use failed. It missed it by a year.
Yeah. So yeah, greater than 50 years. Each movie has to be greater than 50 years in order to be called classic.
Classic.
All right. It's a classic video library. And every movie should be exceptional.
In some way.
In some way. And we will argue
what
those characteristics are.
What's exceptional about it.
Mm-hmm. Thirdly and last is our paradigm shift. Each one of these movies altered movie making in one way or another. All right, so every one of these movies, because we consider them part of the essential movies that every geek must watch at least once in their life. Therefore, we consider that it should have made an impact on the industry.
On the industry, yeah.
Another piece of having these C.A.M.P.Y videos that we talk about is that we have genre classification, because Hollywood always gets that wrong.
Oh my God.
Because they try to clutter it too much. It's like, oh, this movie is kind of like a mystery, but it's also kind of like a horror movie.
Oh, I love when they put comedy in there, and there's nothing comedic about the movie
other than how horribly bad it is. We're going to give you a genre classification now. Some people may disagree, but that's okay, because this is the Mustache and Beard. So this is our stuff. Okay, so it's a good faith effort. So understand that from the beginning. It's a good faith effort to clarify what Hollywood tries to muddy.
Yeah.
All right, and then last but not least will be ratings. We always give ratings. All of these ratings are going to be high.
Yeah,
because
absolutely. Because that's what we're saying. We're saying that these movies are great.
They're exceptional, so therefore they're going to have high ratings. So you should know that even if we don't say we recommend them, we recommend all three of these movies.
Right.
All right, so our next movie is movie number 57, The Hound of the Baskervilles, 1959.
Yay!
The Hound of the Baskervilles, 1959, is a Technicolor, British, Gothic, mystery horror movie produced by Hammer Film Productions.
Hammer Film.
I know that one was a surprise to you. Directed by Terence Fisher.
Yay!
Based on the 1902 novel by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Yay!
Starring Peter Cushing.
Yay!
As Sherlock Holmes. Andre Morell as Dr. Watson.
Yay!
An absolutely incredible Dr. Watson.
Yes. Yes.
And Chris Lee as the romantic lead, as Sir Henry Baskerville.
Yay!
All right. A family curse threatens the final surviving heir of Baskerville Hall, such that Sherlock Holmes and Watson are hired to protect and investigate. Pretty much that's the little plot for it.
And I'm sure everybody watching out there has seen some kind of Hound of the Baskervilles movie. If not this one, you've seen one of the 24 others.
Yes. And this one is highly recommended.
Know then the legend of the Hound of the Baskervilles. Take heed, and beware the moor in those dark hours when evil is exalted, else you will surely meet the Hound of Hell, the Hound of the Baskervilles.
Which way? For heaven's sake, which way?
The greatest story ever written by one of the world's greatest storytellers, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's classic masterpiece of mystery, suspense, and horror, The Hound of the Baskervilles.
Some revolting sacrificial rite has been performed. What depths a human being can sink to.
What human being could have done this?
That is precisely what I intend to find out.
But how can you be so certain that somebody took one of the bishop's spiders and deliberately placed it in Sir Henry's room? That it wasn't in the luggage he brought from South Africa?
Elementary, my dear Watson. There are no tarantulas in South Africa.
What do you want me to do?
Identify anything I may find. Strange things are to be found on the moor. Like this, for instance.
Why? You thought it was going to be easy, didn't you? Didn't you? You won't be the first of your family who thought that. And you won't be the first to die because of it.
Classification is mystery, horror, beastly freak. Because the Hound is
an animal freak.
Yes, a mutant.
A freakish animal.
Yes, different from Jaws. Listen, if you consider Jaws a horror movie, then
Yes, and most people do consider Jaws a horror movie.
all right. Longevity. This is a 2023 takeaway 1959, which is 64 years. So absolutely it qualifies.
Yes.
We're going to talk about exceptionalism with this movie. Start.
Okay. Keeping in mind that this is the first Sherlock Holmes movie in color. Okay? Every previous Sherlock Holmes prior to this was in black and white.
Yeah, that's the paradigm shift.
It's in color, but it's also what makes it exceptional, because it manages to retain the Gothic elements of the Sherlock Holmes story, and the atmosphere of the Sherlock Holmes story, while still presenting it in living color. That in itself was exceptional. Remember, again, like I said before, the belief was that a horror couldn't be presented in color. There was also a belief that this kind of mystery thriller also couldn't be presented in color. And again, Hammer is showing everybody that
You're wrong. They
You're
show
wrong.
the blood.
yeah, you're wrong. You know,
Look at how much fun we're having with this red paint that looks like blood.
more blood. No, and it's just, it was ahead of its time, or perhaps not ahead of its time. It showed that it was time. It was time.
And it changed the genre.
It changed. It changed. Well, it changed. Not only did it change the genre, but it made it more interesting. It gave it new life. And I honestly believe that if they had tried to do it in black and white, it would have come across as something like a B or a C movie. But by mastering the use of color for a movie like this and for Revenge of the Frankenstein, it's part of what elevated it up into A level.
Absolutely. Gothic elements are replete in this movie. That became a staple of Hammer. The castle, the moors, the fog, the swampland. This is
the mind.
Right. So they have the darks and the blacks there, but they also have the color. In Revenge, I played up the writing. Here in this one, I will play up the casting. Cushing, of course, is fantastic. His cadence is, he demonstrates his intelligence by talking faster than everybody, and shows you that you can't hear him. You got to keep up. I loved Andre Morell as Dr. Watson because he reclaims from Nigel Bruce the silly Watson. This one is a very capable and, in fact, heroic and I mean that Holmes trusts him and says, I need you to go over there and I need you to take care of Henry Baskerville. Do not leave his side. And when later on he finds that Morell has left his side, he absolutely yells at Morell. And Morell doesn't cower. It's like, no,
apologize.
Yeah, let me explain why this is what was the best thing to do. And, he is completely capable of,
holding his own.
Of fighting with Holmes with no problem. And then, of course, the casting of Christopher Lee as the romantic lead.
Unbelievable, but it works.
Who usually is either the bad guy or the good guy. In this one, he's neither. He's actually a little more wimpish because he needs Watson to protect him.
No, remember they gave him a heart condition. So he's the romantic. What he is plain and simple, is the romantic lead. Christopher Lee is the romantic lead. Holy cow!
Yes, absolutely exceptional. So what I have for Paradigm Shift here is the first color version of Sherlock Holmes, and because it is the most fun novel to play with, Terence Fisher wanted to do The Hound of the Baskervilles because he says, I can't wait to film The Hound. He goes, I want to film the monster. And so in his mind, he had already said, this is a monster movie. I want to, I can't wait. So in his mind, as soon as he was given the chance to direct this movie, his thought was, I want to do, they said, do a Sherlock Holmes movie. And so he says, I want to do Hound of the Baskervilles. Why? Well, because the Hound.
Yes.
So very clearly, he already had in his mind what he was going to do. And so Paradigm Shift is the whole idea of filming Sherlock Holmes in color. Because you're right, it's the first time. All the other movies that were previous to this one had all done Sherlock Holmes in black and white. And here he is in color, living color, and who is it? It is Peter Cushing with his wavy hair. In every movie, he always has a scuffle where the hair goes like this. But he's amazing because he's so, in this movie, he is so tight, kept together, calm. The only time he loses his mind is when he sees Watson not in the company of Henry Baskerville. He's like, wait, I trusted you. Fantastic. So yeah, that's the paradigm shift for me.
I agree with you. I agree with you on everything. And to continue with Peter Cushing was considered an authority in Sherlock Holmes. So what we're getting here is the most authentic Sherlock Holmes up to this time. As a matter of fact, he even had the Baker Street rooms redone to how it was described in the books, including the fact that Holmes used to keep his mail on top of the mantelpiece with a dagger stuck through the mail. He had that put in. So when you're watching Peter Cushing, you're getting the most authentic, according to his take.
Right.
Every actor has their own take. According to his take, he's being as authentic as Sherlock Holmes as he possibly can. So like when you said about his talking fast, that's how he felt that Sherlock Holmes would do it. When he gets mad at Watson, that's how he felt that Sherlock Holmes would do it. Brilliant, perfect piece of casting of Peter Cushing as Sherlock Holmes. And Christopher Lee said in an interview that he was amazed. He was amazed at Peter and that he could keep all this in his head, and that he knew all this and how he could get it just right.
Multitasking while he's talking, going like this. It's just an absolute incredible frenzy that Christopher Lee mentioned. It's like, yes, perfect. Ratings, I'm going to go first because we know what you rated it. But you can repeat, but it's going to be the same thing. It is absolutely, I give it a perfect 5 great geeks, all right? Because for me, this is a perfect movie.
Yeah.
And you will not hear me say that very often. Cushing is spectacular. I mean, for all the reasons we've already enumerated. Christopher Lee playing against type is absolutely fantastic. All right? The fact that he was willing to take a lesser role, because he decided not to do Watson, I think is absolutely to his credit. That he was able to, you know what, I'm gonna be Henry Baskerville. I'll kiss the girl. I'll make that sacrifice. Morell making Watson look capable and dignified, for me, is the absolute dot, the period at the end of that statement. Have a great deal of respect for Morell, that he could undo 12 movies of Nigel Bruce with this one performance.
Not only just 12 movies, because they were also, it was Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce doing the Sherlock Holmes radio show.
Oh, that's true.
They were playing it on radio the same way.
And listen, not to diminish Nigel Bruce, because to play slapstick on radio,
he's a great actor. But he was told to play it that way, and so he played it that way.
So 5 Great Geeks is my rating. Now you can go on Wax Poetic.
Well, this has always been my favorite Hound of the Baskervilles movie, and I've seen at least 24 different Hound of the Baskervilles movies. This is my favorite. Over time, it's also become my favorite Sherlock Holmes movie. Right? And as I've read more about it, and I've read what other critics have said, critics at the time and critics now, I've come to realize that for me, this is the perfect Sherlock Holmes movie. I can't think of anything that I would change or I would have done different. Anything that I would have tweaked, nothing. And every time I watch another Sherlock Holmes movie, I'm like, that's not how they did it
Uh-huh.
in the Cushing Hound. And I like the way that I'll give you an example. The movie starts with Sir Hugo's story.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
It starts with the Sir Hugo story,
Mm-hmm.
and then when the Hugo story ends, we're in Baker Street. Dr. Mortimer is there, Holmes and Watson. So that Sir Hugo story becomes a teaser.
Uh-huh.
That little bit of movie in the beginning becomes a teaser. Now that's not how the book has it, and the other ones have the books have it that Holmes and Watson are together, and Mortimer left his stick, and they wait for Mortimer to come, and then he pulls up the story. Let me read it to you, and then now we cut to in effect it cuts the pacing. It cuts. You know,
it slows everything down.
It slows everything down, and then the story itself is not presented as horror.
No, it's not.
You know, so every time I watch a Hound of the Baskervilles movie now, I'm like, they'd have been better off doing that in the beginning. They would have been starting off. Forget that whole thing about Mortimer leaving his cane and that back and forth. It's superfluous. Start out with the backstory.
Yeah.
Start out with the Sir Hugo story, and make it as scary and menacing as possible, like they did in the Cushing one. So, I happen to think this is the best Sherlock Holmes movie ever made, and so naturally, I'm giving it 5 great geeks. I think it's perfect.
Excellent. All right. Okay, so let us induct this movie. It is with great pride and respect that we induct The Hound of the Baskervilles, 1959, as our movie number 57 into the Mustache and the Beard's Hall of Fame. Classic Video Library. C.A.M.P.Y is Classic Archive Motion Picture Yearbook. Take a bow! That having been said,
Good one. Good one.
there you have it. We've come to the end of another video. We want to ask you to please interact with our post, comment, like, and share, please. Share this with people who you think might enjoy our silly sense of humor and our geek taste in movies. We say thanks for watching. My name is Louis Matos. I am the Mustache.
I'm Junior Figueroa. I beat the beard.
We say see you later.
Hasta la vista.
Take it easy.
And peace.